guys, it's Barrett with the Gimme Camper. I'm going to tell you I've had an issue with my black tank blade valve getting stuck, not really working all that well. And you take this cover off and you get a little bit of, it doesn't hit your face, but you know what I mean. And so I had put a Valterra valve. If you don't know what a Valterra valve is, you can get them that just screw on and you can get them that glue on. But essentially you have another blade valve right here, right where the cap is, so you don't get a face full of stinky stink, right? Now I'm going to tell you that when I did this, I had this screw on one. I was worried that it was going to vibrate and fall off, as well as this was loose, so it would like rotate where the blade valve would like go down. I was afraid it would hit something. So I did see somebody in a group say that they put a self-tapping screw in there to hold it down, and I thought, well, that sounds like a good idea. And number one, I said, well, if one does it, two would be better. I put those screws in such a way that it messed up the seal in there, and so then it started leaking. So that wasn't good. So then what did I do? I ordered some new seals. I ordered new seals and I tried to put it in there. I couldn't get that seal to seat in that thing for anything, and I wanted to light the whole thing on fire. So I thought I got to find a better way. So then I thought, oh, I got a better way. I'm going to just cut the screw-on part of that off and glue it to the pipe. Now, when I decided to do that, this pipe was shorter, and so it was kind of sticking back there a little ways, and I wanted to extend that out. And I have this one hanger here, and I didn't want the coupler to be right at this hanger with all the pressure being on that. So I did cut it about a foot back. And I thought, that's not a problem. I'm just going to run to the store, I'm going to get me some pipe, and I'm going to glue it all together, and it'll be perfect. So obviously it wasn't, or I wouldn't be making this video, right? So I want to caution you when it comes to listening to someone at your local hardware store. So I went and I went looking for ABS. That's the black pipe here, if you don't know. So it used to be pretty prevalent. It's not too prevalent anymore. A lot of Lowe's and Home Depots and stuff like that don't carry it anymore. I have seen one or two Ace Hardwares that carry it. But I decided to do this, and it was at night, and the local like plumbing supply store was closed. And so I went to Home Depot, and the guy at Home Depot says, oh, you can just use PVC, you can mix it and match it. The glue's made for both. It shouldn't have any issues. Well, I had some issues. So I had a little bit of a leak there. Didn't like it. It was right before we went out west. And so all the way out west, South Dakota, had this little drip, and it was, you could tell it's black water, and it was nasty and kind of embarrassing. And I was trying to ignore it. And then I thought, well, I'll get some flex tape and put over that one seal where it was leaking, and that should get us till we get home, right? So I got some flex tape. I put over that. And by the way, they recommend that you not use flex tape or any of those products on your RV, but I decided to do it just for temporary. Thought I can get back home with this. Well, put the flex tape on there, and the next morning, it was leaking worse. And I was like, how's it leaking worse? So I decided I just got to fix this. We were in Montana at the time. I think where I saw it leaking worse, we were staying at Cabela's in Billings. And I was like, this just doesn't make sense. Well, right before we went to that Cabela's in Billings, I drained my tanks, okay? And I did forget, apparently, to close my gray water valve up here, and so that's why it was leaking worse. It wasn't that it was leaking worse, it was that it had more water coming out of it, and so it was trying to get rid of it. And so that's why it was dripping. But I went outside and it looked like this, and I was like, oh my gosh, right? I just touched my face after I touched the black pipe. Don't do that. It's nasty. Anyway, I can't do this. I gotta go wash my hands. So I was on the lookout for some ABS pipe. I stopped in a Camping World somewhere along the way, on the way to South Dakota, and they didn't have any. I was kind of looking for some all along. They said that there was a particular Ace Hardware but it was like 45 minutes in the wrong direction. So I said, I'll find some along the way. So then I went to this Ace Hardware in, I think it was Blue Sky, Montana. And they didn't have any, but they said, I bet the RV place down here, it was called Big Sky RV, I bet they have some. And I went in there and they had the fitting. I got a glue-on valve, I got a piece of pipe, I got the glue, and initially I forgot the coupler. That was going to make me really mad, but I remembered right before I pulled out, and I went back and got the coupler so I connected it all together. So then we went over down to a local parking lot where I could change all this out so that it wouldn't leak anymore. And so I bought a hacksaw just for this purpose. And I got in here and I thought, well, I need to, let all this stuff out that's in the pipe. So I got a tote that I use for a sewer tote with all my sewer equipment. I emptied it out, as gross as it sounds, and I went to dump that water in that tote. Well, more water came out than what I expected, and that confused me, and that's when I noticed that gray valve was turned off. So in the parking lot, I got all that fixed. I had a little bit of a mess there. I washed it up with my hose because I had some water in my tanks and everything cleaned up after myself. But we had to get this thing fixed in the parking lot. And so it only took about 20-30 minutes. I told my wife to go in the store, shop around while I was out there. It was really more of a headache than anything, just finding the stuff. So if you ever have a problem where you need to get some ABS pipe, I suggest that you look for it ahead of time because it's very scarce these days for some reason. And do not mix PVC and ABS. I don't care what the glue says. I don't care what the people tell you. I wouldn't do it. Just stick with ABS. You'll be good to go. And I really suggest one of these Valterra valves. I'm going to put a link for the screw-on one and for the glue-on one in the description below. As usual, that does help the channel out a little bit if you order one. But I'm going to say that I do much prefer this one that glues on because this doesn't move around at all. It stays exactly where I glued it on. With the screw-on one, this whole apparatus would rotate. And like I say, it could rotate down where it's closer to the ground or anything like that. Not to mention that it could fall off. And apparently you can put some screws in there. Don't put them where I put them, and be sure that you see where the seal is there. But besides that, all's great these days. This new setup where I glued it all together has been working fine. It's not leaked at all. And so that's the way I should have done it to start with. And I'm telling you my mistakes so you don't make them.
Do not forget to hit that subscribe button.